welcome to Dave's Think Tank. A few months back I did a video explaining how I installed a 5-inch video screen right here in the middle of this vector playfield. Reasonably well protected against ricocheting pinballs. So I managed to crack that screen. Needless to say, I'm not really satisfied with my reasonably well protected setup anymore. So I've taken another look at the project and I've made some improvements. The major problem I was dealing with in this project, there just isn't enough space around this screen. It's held too tight. It's held by these two blue posts, and the metal cover for the hype targets holds it with zero give. I tried adding a metal backing to support the display to stiffen it and keep the pinball strikes away from the screen. But in hindsight, it also creates a slightly wider target for pinballs to strike with the energy sometimes transferred into the display. The display cracked when a shot to its left side forced it into the blue post. With nowhere to go, the display cracked against the post. So, lesson learned, I need to create more space. Vector. So first thing we have to do, remove these two blue posts and replace them. And we're going to replace them with this metal post, two metal posts which have a slightly smaller base. It's not much smaller, but it is enough to give it a bit of room in there. And where are you going to find these metal posts, you ask? Well, there should be 4 of them underneath this announcer plastic. In each of these 4 holes. Now these two, you can very easily take those metal posts out, replace them with the plastic ones. They're underneath, nobody can see them. It doesn't matter what post is under there. So this is still a metal post. It's still much harder, even harder than the plastic ones. So what are we going to do about that? Well, what you can do, cut a piece of anti-static foam, and now one of the things which makes this a neater job, angle cut that about 45 degrees on both ends, and we can cover that up, and take a piece of duct tape, fit that over top and around. And you have a nice soft post for the screen to be up against. Now the left side has to have the rubber go around it, so I did it in 2 pieces like this. You don't really need the top piece, I've found out, but this is how I've done it anyway. So the rubber goes around through the middle here. On this end, it doesn't actually have the rubber wrapped around it, so it can be one long piece of tape there. And as for this metal cover, it goes over top of the hype targets. There's no reason for this. It isn't needed anymore. This flimsy black plastic one works just as well, so I've taken this out completely. And now this piece, if you can see, it's a little bit smaller. It's about a 1/4 of an inch shorter on this side. I've trimmed it back to make sure it's not pressing against the display in any meaningful way. So cut it back as far as you can. When the washers are in there, I've cut it right back to the washers. Vector. So this is a 3.5 inch rubber ring that I've got going around here. In the previous video, I didn't have any room back here for the rubber ring, so I had to remove this vector sign. I had to move this piece on the side of the ramp so that the rubber could come up and go up to the second level here. So with the space I've created here, that's no longer necessary. I've put this back in. It's not visible, but it may as well be in. And I've moved this side piece back where it was originally. And so what I'll do now, I'll just put the posts back in, put the screen back in. Okay, so I've got my new screen in place. I've got the posts here, and they're also holding this plastic hype cover in place. I've tightened them not completely, just leaving them like a half a turn less than complete so that there is a little bit of give in there. I don't know if that's necessary, but I've done that. Now what you want is the screen to be as completely protected on this side as possible, because this is where all the shots are. So I've pushed this over as far as it'll go so that it's lined up with the screw there. And if you look here, as a ball comes down, it can just hit a little bit of rubber here. If it comes from the front, it's hitting the post. That screen is very well protected on the left hand side and should not see any damage from that side, hopefully. If something does hit it very hard from the back somehow, it's pushing it into the soft cover that we have placed around the post there. Vector. So this protects the left-hand side, but now the right-hand side is completely exposed. It's been pushed out by about 1/4 of an inch. So there's nothing else to be done. I had to add a blue post to protect it. Now this post, it's going to interfere somewhat with balls coming down. I've played it a few times. It doesn't seem to interfere that badly. It doesn't affect the game a lot. But what you want to do, you want to push this post over as far as possible. The point of the post is to protect the screen from the front, but also to take up all the slack in the rubber. But you can do it so that it is not pulling on the screen. So, oh, by the way, the rubber curves around here. It goes behind the hype targets and then around the other post. So the way to put this post in here, you have all these competing goals. Just put a post. I'm not going to take the post out to show you, but this is what I did. I put the post in here. I moved it into position as best I could so it was not pulling the screen. It was holding the rubber in place. It was in a position to protect the screen from forward shots. And then you take your drill, once it's in the perfect spot, and just mark the surface of the play field. Then you take this off. You can drill your hole. You can screw that into place. Pull the rubber around. And that is protecting this very well from the front, from any shots from the front. Now there is still a possibility a ball could come down the ramp and hit it from behind, but now it is not hitting it into a hard plastic post. It's hitting it into a soft post, and it's covered with rubber, and it's very well protected. So. Vector. Okay, so the new screen is in place. It looks good. It's running well. I think it is held firmly and well protected on both sides now. Certainly this post is going to protect it from any shots on this side. There's a post protecting it from any flipper shots on this side. On the back there is almost zero visibility, and I think it looks good. Anyway, that's enough for today. Let's play a game.
Vector. I am a PAC play analysis computer for your Vector game plan. Defender. Defender. Y. P. Defenders down. E. Vector. X. H. Y. E. P. H. Vector. P. E. Shoot for vector scan. Range shot. Hunting storm. Defender. Defense in position. Y. Defender. E. H. Defenders down. Great save. Y. E. Vector. Y. E. Y. Weak shot. Vector. Y. X. E. Defender. Y. Why? The showers.